Good evening, Justin Garza High School family and community. We're excited that you are here with us for our cheer parent information night. We'll get started momentarily with formal introductions. We're just going to allow our attendees and participants to join the webinar. Good evening, Justin Garza High School community. We'll get started momentarily. We're just admitting all of the participants to our webinar. So if you could just be patient with us for a few more minutes and we'll get started soon. Okay, good evening. I am Mr. Gutierrez, principal of Justin Garza High School, and I am very excited that you are here joining us this evening for our parent information night regarding our Pep and Cheer program. We will get started first with formal introductions, but before we do that, I do want to call your attention to the bottom of your screen. For today's webinar, our interaction with the community and our parents will happen through the use of our Q&A. So we ask you to please refrain from using the chat box, but instead to use the Q&A box that you have at the bottom of your screen. You can click that and enter any questions throughout today's presentation, and we will make sure to answer your questions. And we'll also have time at the end of the presentation to answer any questions that we might not have answered throughout the presentation. So without further ado, I want to also introduce Miss Ashley Schoolfield, who is our activities director. She'll be helping us out today as a panelist, helping us answer any questions that you might have and responding to those Q&A questions that you guys submit during the presentation. And without further ado, I want to pass it over to the lady of the hour, Mrs. Britney Audino, who is our cheer coach. We're super thrilled that she is part of our Garza family, and she will be taking over today's presentation and giving you vital information about how we're going to build our cheer program at Justin Garza High School. So without further ado, here is Mrs. Audino.
Hi, everybody. I am Mrs. Audino, and I am so excited for this cheer season and to tell you a little bit about the program and myself, and to kind of just give you a little bit of insight as to how things are going to be going and tryouts, and to kind of go over a little bit of what's going to be going on this season. And just really excited to introduce you guys to me and kind of everything that we have going on. So first off, I just want to kind of tell you a little bit about myself. I've been coaching for about 18 years, and I am ACA certified, NFHS certified. I'm an interscholastic coach. I have been CPR certified. I am cheer and certified, strength and conditioning certified, California state component certified. Basically, if there's a certification, I have it. I've coached all sorts of age ranges and levels. I came from Tulare, and I am currently a coach at Tulare Union High School. I also coached for Cheer Force All-Stars and California All-Stars. So I have quite the extensive background in cheerleading, and I do have multiple titles in Worlds and in NCAA. I also have a background in gymnastics. I worked for CCGI, Central California Gymnastics Institute. And I also have a background in working with at-risk youth and disabilities and mental health. So I love cheerleading. It's a passion of mine. And it's something that I've done for a very long time, and I'm super excited to continue to do it with Justin Garza. And I live in Fresno, and I've been traveling for cheer for a very long time all over California. And it's kind of nice to kind of do it a little bit closer to home now and grow something from the ground up at a brand new school. So this is really, really cool. And yeah, it's a really great thing to do here right in my backyard now. So to kind of give you a little bit more insight as to what the purpose of our program is, I'm going to go into our actual squad purpose, which can be found on our main website. So Justin Garza Cheer Program athletes are student leaders who exemplify and promote school spirit, pride, and sportsmanship. Our program participants enhance a positive school climate, and they exhibit leadership skills such as respect for individual differences, building consensus, academic excellence, and modeling appropriate behaviors at all times, both in and out of school and in and out of uniform. So if we can go ahead and switch. Great. So to kind of tell you guys a little bit about some of the different squads that we'll be offering on our campus, I provided you guys with some slides to kind of let you guys know about the different squads we have. We have our Sideline Squad, which is very typical on every campus. The Sideline Squad that we're going to offer this year is going to kind of be a junior varsity hybrid. So it may be a varsity level, even though we maybe cheering for junior varsity frosh games, freshman games. So we have a Sideline Squad that is considered a crowd leading traditional cheer team. They are obviously involved in community and student life support. It's UCA style material. They cheer sideline, courtside, and other various sports, and they support various athletics. They practice approximately 2 to 3 days a week, and they cheer for games and other community service events. Requirements also involve stunting, dancing, and obviously cheering, and not necessarily tumbling, but we'd like to obviously work on tumbling. And then team size can range anywhere from 10 to 35 individuals per team. Now that's a range, but that isn't necessarily where we're going to keep it. So if we have more or less make a specific team, we'll go ahead and kind of, work with that. We may or may not break that into 2 separate teams if we have a marked difference and we need to have 2 separate teams, like a specific varsity and a specific JV, we'll do that. But for the most part, we're probably going to have 1 team unless, again, we have a marked difference. If we can go ahead and switch. And then we have our Pep and Prom program, which again is very traditional on a lot of campuses, which is very dance-based. We go UDA and USA material. That cheers sideline as well, and it competes for the 2021 and 2022 season. So while they'll also be a competitive team, they'll also cheer sideline. And that's a junior varsity level. While again, they may be cheering for junior varsity and frosh games, they may be at a varsity level, and their practice commitment can be 2 to 3 days a week, plus games and competitions. Requirements are turns, leaps, coordination, and flexibility. Team size can range anywhere from 5 individuals to 16. Again, that's a range, not a requirement. So we could take more or less depending on the needs of the team. We can go ahead and switch. And then we have game day competition. Now, some people are very familiar with this type of team and some people are not. Game day competition is a team that actually competes what is traditionally sideline material. So that's material that you would see on a typical sideline cheering at games. And basically it's a 3-minute game day situational competition scenario, and it's actually judged. So that's UCA and USA material based, and it includes a band chant, a cheer, and a fight song. So they cheer sideline and they compete for the 2021 and 2022 season. And while they do cheer for a junior varsity or frosh, game, they may compete at a varsity level. In fact, they'll probably cheer most certainly and compete most certainly at a varsity level. The practice commitment is usually 1 to 2 days a week, plus games and comps. Requirements are cheer, stunting, enthusiasm, prop work, motion tech, and some light stunting. And I will tell you that this type of team is very near and dear to my heart, and that I believe it makes someone into a very well-rounded cheerleader. It takes a special type of cheerleader to be on this type of team, and that it really encompasses and really pushes the core of what a real cheerleader is, and that every element that you really utilize on the sideline is pushed and I guess you could say elevated. Team size can range anywhere from 14 to 24. Again, not a requirement. That's just a range. It's great for team members looking to cheer and get scholarship opportunities and possibly cheer in college, and to develop into a more well-rounded cheerleader or transition into a traditional competitive cheerleader. So if you're wanting to build your skills up into a traditional comp cheerleader, this is a really great team for you, and that it really gives you an opportunity to develop. If you want to go ahead and switch. And then there's traditional competition cheer. So traditional competition cheer is a fantastic team for you if you live and breathe cheerleading. So traditional cheer is 2-minute and 30-second competition cheer team, very competitive. They compete UCA and USA. I would say very heavy on the UCA circuit, JV varsity level. Practice commitment is 3 to 4 days a week, plus competitions, I would say leaning more to 4 days a week. Competitive, highly motivated, and team focused is this team. Requirements are cheer, travel, elite level stunting, enthusiasm, prop work, tumbling development, most definitely. And then team size can range anywhere from 11 to 24 per team. So the way this team does operate is you will bid on to make this team. So while you will make this team in tryouts, you are not ensured a place on the mat. So we will have alternates on the team, and then you would have to secure your position on this team as the season progresses. So this is great for team members looking to cheer for scholarships and looking to develop to cheer at a college level. So I will tell you the majority of the individuals on my competitive teams typically do get offered college scholarships. So Blue Crew is a team we're super excited about this season. They're cheer-based. It's our adaptable team. I would say they're very comparable to Hot Shots. They cheer for community events and collaborative games. They volunteer, and it's a little bit more of a low commitment team. There's no requirements to be on this team, and they don't require a formal tryout. So the team size can range anywhere from 3 to 10. Again, that's a range, and the team does not formally meet until after the summer. And the pace is based on the needs of the team. Right? So if we want to go ahead and all right, so some really important tryout documents and deadlines everybody should be aware of. The cheer tryout application is due by April 5th, and there aren't any exceptions. So we have a very strict deadline regimen this year. Obviously, we've been very fortunate to be granted the privilege of being able to have in-person tryouts this season. But with that, and obviously the current COVID climate, we have to be very scheduled in our approach to how we have our tryouts. And that's just for the safety of everybody trying out. So we will have cohorts of 3. We'll have a schedule to adhere to. So we just want to make sure that we have every application in, and we want to make sure that we stick to that specific number of applicants, and then we have everybody in and we can schedule them accordingly. So cheer applications will be a firm close on April 5th. So we need to make sure we get those in. And then we need to make sure that your transcripts are in by April 26th. And that's just so we can make sure that we apply everything to your score sheet, because you are awarded bonus points based on specific grade point averages. And then a cleared up-to-date physical, which can be found your template for that physical in the Justin Garza athletic packet, which I provided a link for, and you can find on the athletic website. And then that entered into Family ID. A link can also be found in the athletic website, and that is also due on April 26th. And then proof and confirmation of attendance of this webinar, and that is also due on April 26th. And one of the things that you can do when this meeting is over, at the tail end of this meeting, is go ahead and enter your name as proof, or you can take a screenshot of attendance of this meeting and then scan that to us via email. So signed documents in the 2021 Cheer Program Handbook, which many of you guys have already gone ahead and downloaded, and we're going to head on over to that here in a second. All right, and that can actually be found on our website. So when you go to our website, there is a link directly to this handbook, which we're going to go over. So that's www.justingarzacheer.com. And that is a hub for all of the information cheer. And literally, you can pretty much find essentially anything cheer related on this website. And if you go to that link, right there, program handbook, there's a downloadable version, and you can print that out, and all of the required paperwork that you need to sign is available there. And those papers just need to be turned in. Again, they can be scanned and turned in to me via email. And then if you don't get a chance to email them to me, you can turn them in on registration day, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Okay. So if we have any questions so far, does anybody have anything that they need to ask?
Ms. Audino, we have two questions that have come in so far.
Okay.
The first question is, where do we get the transcript at? So
Okay.
I can answer that. If your student could visit the school registrar, if they are at East Campus or West Campus currently, if they are at Rio and or Glacier Middle School, they can ask their counselor for a copy of their transcript. The next question, Ms. Audino, is can we send you a picture on your Instagram of us being in attendance of this meeting?
Yes, I'll take that. Just make sure you put your name. If you can just make sure you put your first and last name, so then I can note it in your file.
Thank you. Another question is, this is my first time doing cheer and I'm trying to get flexible. And I was wondering if I have a chance to still make the team if I try out.
Absolutely. So I like to say that we are a journey team, not a destination team. So I have had kids that have never ever done a day of cheer in their life, and they have made our most competitive teams. So as long as you show potential and enthusiasm, we can work with you. We have gotten kids who have never ever tumbled before to do a back tuck by the end of the season. And I know that sounds completely like mind blowing, but we've gotten that to happen. We've had kids who couldn't, like, they've had star jumps, or they have, barely done a barely been able to hold their leg up, and by the end they've had a full-on heel stretch. So everything is in your will and in your ability to try. So if you have the mindset that I'm going to do everything I possibly can to work hard and be the best that I can be for my teammates, you can do anything, I promise you.
Thank you. And the next question is it okay if I'm sitting for two girls? So I think she's maybe asking that in response to the attendance.
We would highly recommend that an individual, that isn't able to make the meeting, they need to personally watch the recorded video after this meeting, and then they need to go ahead and receive their own credit for watching the meeting. So if they're not able to attend, make sure that they watch the meeting on their own rather than you relay the message to that individual.
Got it. Thank you.
Really.
Another question. If we turned a physical or completed ID family, do we still turn it in for cheer?
So do you mean by turning it into another sport?
I believe that's what they might be referring to. Yes.
I'm fairly certain that if you turn in a physical for any sport, it's good for any sport, including cheer.
And so that the individual who answered that question, it says it's an anonymous attendee. So the person who typed that question, if you would like to just confirm receipt of that physical and completed ID family, you might want to reach out to Mr. Teresian, our athletic director, to just get confirmation so you can be in good standing order for that tryout.
And you just want to make sure that it's not for the previous season. It needs to be for the current 2021, 2022 season. You want to make sure that it's not for a previous sport. So it has to be for this new athletic season.
Got it. Then another question, does a transcript I got in January work, or do I need to get another one from Rio Vista?
It just has to be for the most recent closing grades. So it's obviously your grades haven't closed for this next season or this next grading period. It has to be the most recent closed grading period.
Got it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Another question. I attended Central, so I do that already. Do we turn it in again? I'm not sure what they're referring to.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean.
So the individual who typed that question, if you might type it in again to just give us some clarity of what the it is that you're turning in, so we can get some clarification and get that answer to you. Okay.
Brittany, do you want me to give you some clarification to probably what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, that's
So,
Mr. Teresian, can you introduce yourself as well? We didn't have a chance to introduce you at the start of the panel.
hi, everybody. Good evening. Sorry, it took some time to get here. I had to make my way from Collegian Stadium where Central had a football game that we had to supervise. But I'm glad that you guys were able to make it on here. And just real quick, before I answer that question, I just want everybody out there to know how lucky we are to have Coach Audino here at Justin Garza. I know she's not the type that sits there and gives herself all the credit and kudos that she deserves, but you know, the information that we're getting from people that are involved in the cheer community are it's been the same thing from day one. Is we got ourselves a great coach, a great leader, someone who's going to take our cheer program at Justin Garza High School to levels and goals that we probably could only dream of. So we're really lucky. I'm really lucky to have her on staff. I know Miss Schofield is extremely lucky to have her, and altogether as Central Unified, we're ecstatic and lucky to have her. So I just wanted to say that. But to answer that question, the way physicals work, your physical is good for 1 year to the date. So if you, for example, that's the individual, the anonymous individual who got their, say their physical was done in August of 2020, that physical is good through August of 2021. So if they went and got it August 1st, that physical would pretty much be good until you know, pretty much July 31st of 2021. So if you already have a physical that you got in August, yes, that physical will be good. We just need for you to upload it in your family ID. Now, the question that probably they're trying to find out is if they've already done a family ID for Central High School, yes, they're going to have to do another family ID for Justin Garza High School because we're two different entities. So if you've already done one at, say for Rio Vista, or you've done one for Central, your physical would still be good as long as it's within that 1 year expiration date. But yes, you would have to go and do the family ID. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Teresian. Another question is, if we have an athletic packet that was done in August, do we need to do another one by April 26th since they are good for 1 year? I think Mr. Teresian just answered that. Are there any other sports we can do that will not clash into cheer if we want to do another sport? Yes,
all spring sports. So swimming, diving, I believe softball, and I think track too, right? Any kind of track sport.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, do we turn in both cheer packet and physical clearance to Coach Britney on her email?
Yes. Okay. So you can turn in all documents, and by turn in, I mean scan. So please don't send me any screenshots because everything gets printed and you all have little individual like digital files, and then you have physical files with me. So everything gets scanned and then rescanned into a physical file. So just make sure that it's not a screenshot, it's an actual digital scan. So if you can't scan it, then we have an actual, and again, we'll discuss that later. We have an actual registration day where you can physically turn it in if you can't actually send it via scan. So you can email it to me and just make sure that you have your name in the subject line so that I know that it's you, and you get that you actually, I can attach it to your file, and I can put 2 and 2 together. And then make sure that you have a verification of receipt. So make sure that you say, please respond, to this, that you got it. So then it doesn't go into spam and you just assume that I received it. And then I can respond received, and I'll always let you know that I got it. And then that you have documentation that I got it from you.
Thank you, Coach Audino. Next one is, we need a transcript from our counselor from our school and send it to you, correct?
Yes, you can just as answered before, you can go ahead and get that from your school, a transcript. I will not accept like a printout from, what is it?
Aries or
Yeah, Aries. I will not accept that. So just make sure you get an official transcript.
Can you try out for 2 teams?
Yes.
Perfect. Where on Family ID do we upload the physical?
I believe you don't upload the physical. I believe you just enter the information manually. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The physical would, it's a little different for us right now because our school is not physically up and running. But typically what would happen is a family would fill out all the information on Family ID and would submit that, and it goes into a database, which we were able to go and check off. The physical, actually, there is a link on there that you can print out the physical, and you would take that to your doctor. Once you're completed with that and you filled it out and the doctor signed it, you would physically come turn that into the athletics office. In this case, because we don't have it, Coach Audino, you can collect those, and as you get them, give them to me, and then we'll get them cleared.
Yeah, and I will always tell you guys, and this is just a word to the wise. I would always say, make a photocopy, parents, and keep a little, folder with your documents, and just keep it in a really safe place. And then always give me a copy of your document so that I can keep it. Your child always has a formal file with me. I have a cheer office in my house. It's dedicated to cheerleading, and your child has their own file. So if I have a copy of that paperwork and you lose something, I have an extra copy of it. So then you're like, let's say your child even goes to go do swim, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're asking for, a paper, that they need at the office. I have a copy of it and I can just give it to you. I can't tell you how many times at my current school, a kid has lost something. They're like, Audino, do you have that paper? And I can just grab it and I can give you a copy. I can just scan it to you, or I can just give you the other physical copy, and then I have it on file.
Thank you.
Mhm.
How do I know? Let me see if I can make, how do I know for sure that I filled out the right application for cheer?
Okay, so there is a interest form that is no longer even available online, and then there is a Google form that is an application. And I don't know if you can actually even go to that right now. Can you do that? Okay, so right there at the top, it says tryout application. It's right here at the very, very top. Perfect. So right there, that's a tryout. Can you actually click on that? It looks like this. I think you can get into it. Looks just like that. That is the application. So you're going to want to fill that out. And again, these are kind of actually supposed to be in today, because we're trying to get the schedule, like a kind of bones schedule going, so we can kind of know if we're going to have 2 days worth of tryouts or just 1. But these need to be in by April 5th. So that's what the actual application looks like.
Thank you. I know you said everything is posted on social media, but what if I don't have social media? How will I see or hear information about cheer?
I send out emails to everybody. So if you have actually signed up on the application, you'll be getting regular emails. And then if you are signed up, you will also eventually, as of after the 5th, you will be put in a tryout group message system. And it'll basically just it'll funnel you information about tryouts. And basically anytime something is happening, you'll get an alert like, hey, make sure you have this paperwork in. Hey, registration day is coming up. So that'll be happening fairly quickly as soon as the 5th is like over with. So that's basically kind of called tryout kickoff. And then you'll basically kind of be put into that group and you'll know, okay, this is coming up. Oh, I know registration day is coming up and I need to have this. Oh, I know where to get, my tryout information. I know where to get my tryout material. So for example, like the dances, the cheers, all of the material that you need to have, that is where you know where to get it because links will be posted directly to that. So you'll either have an email or you'll have that group message to where you get all of that information that you need to have. I know a lot of parents don't allow their kids to have social media, or kids just don't prefer to have social media, which is totally okay. And that's where you'll get that information.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Can I get confirmation that the tryout form was received?
Yes, all you have to do is email me, and we're about to get to that part as we go down into the handbook. You'll email me, just say, hey, did you get my my application? And then I'll just email you right back. I've actually already had a few kids ask me, and I'll let you know, hey, sorry, I didn't get it. Can you go ahead and send one in? Or I'll say, yes, I got it.
Okay. When you mean digital, do you mean taking a picture? Actually, I think you mean a PDF copy, correct, Coach?
Correct.
Do you know?
Yep.
Yeah. So what we don't want is families to send in pictures of screenshots from the phone, but actual PDF copy that you would get on a computer or even on a tablet. Where can I get the family ID?
Family ID can be found on our athletic website.
Perfect. For the tryouts, we need to have the dance and what else?
We're actually going to go over that as we go down.
Perfect. Okay, we'll skip to that. And we have just 2 more. What was the interest form? I don't remember filling that out.
You don't have to worry about the interest form. The interest form basically just kind of let you know, or kind of let us know that, hey, I'm wanting to be put on an email list of everything that's coming out. I want to know when, the tryout application's coming out. I want to know when tryout information's coming out. I want to know when the dance is being released, the cheers being released. I want to know when the website's being updated. And now now that you're here and you know that the parent meeting's out and everything, you're ahead of the game now. So if you're on this meeting, you've got all the information that the interest form gave you. Any other questions?
The last one was not a question, but just a comment that your audio is hard to hear. So we'll just make sure to speak clearly and loudly for everybody. Thank you. And we'll continue, Coach Audino, with the presentation.
Okay. So if you scroll down, all right, so stop right there. If you look, you're going to see that the program is obviously under the direction of me, Britney Audino. Everybody calls me Coach Audino, but eventually by the end of the year, it gets shortened and I'm Audino. I guess it's just easier to say. My telephone number is clearly written. And then you have coachaudino@gmail.com or baudino@centralunified.org. Usually parents will send me information that doesn't want to be sent via server for Coach Audino, and then baudino@centralunified.org. And that's usually like for doctor's notes or private information that they just don't want to be sent. The rules and regulations and procedures outlined in these guidelines are in effect from the time a student is selected to be on the team. So just a heads up, the minute that you make Justin Garza cheer, all of these rules and regulations apply to you. So not the minute that you become a Justin Garza guardian, not the minute that you step onto campus, the minute that you make the team, everything in this handbook applies to you. So we do follow Central Unified's student conduct guidelines or athletic guidelines, the California Interscholastic Federation guidelines, and CIF and NFHS guidelines. So if you want to go ahead and scroll down. So try eligibility and requirements. So a student must be enrolled in Justin Garza and must be in attendance by the first day of the first semester. The principal and Central Unified School District superintendent has the discretion to determine the participations for students in the new district. A student must have a cumulative GPA of 2.0 or better. That is not something that I have any I don't have any discretion over. So every year I always have a couple of kids that are like, hey, I've like just barely missed it. Unfortunately, I don't have, that doesn't supersede, I don't supersede that rule. So just make sure you have those 2.0s, because we really, really want, your student athletes first and foremost. So the student part comes above, the athlete. So you have to have that 2.0 in order to participate in extracurricular. A student must meet state guidelines for compulsory attendance. So make sure you go to school and you're attending those Zoom classes. And a student must have no outstanding balance from prior year financial obligations. You guys haven't been on this team before, so you don't have any outstanding balances. So you really don't have anything to worry about as far as this team is concerned. But in the future, if you've been on this team before and you have an outstanding balance, which you shouldn't, then you wouldn't be able to try out for the next year. A student must have never received deferred adjunction, I guess that's a tongue twister for me today, and or a conviction for a Class B misdemeanor or higher class crime conviction. A student who's been expelled or sent to disciplinary school and mandatory placements for the previous school year are ineligible to try out. So a student who's also is also not eligible, who's resigned or been dismissed from the cheerleading squad in the previous year. However, if the student resigns due to circumstances outside of their control, the advisor and or campus principals do have the discretion to determine whether they may be considered for tryouts in the following year. So therefore, if you decide cheerleading is just not for me this year, you get angry and you're like, hey, I'm just not gonna, do cheer because I'm just in a bad mood, or, we have, the discretion to say, hey, unfortunately, you're not welcome back to try out for the next year. Cheer is a commitment. If you decide, it's just not for you, unfortunately, you cannot try it out the next year. Same thing, if you get dismissed, you cannot try out the next year. You have to wait a whole calendar year, and then you're welcome to try out the next year. So scrolling down, commitments. Candidates selected to be a member for the program are expected to make a commitment for the activity for the full cheerleading season. That goes hand in hand with what we just said. And a cheerleader who voluntarily quits before the end of the cheerleading season without approval. Again, we just mentioned that in our previous statement. So the guidelines. So each advisor is responsible for the tryout schedule and the tryout procedures. Every campus is different, and obviously our particular tryout procedure is going to be a little different from other campuses, whether that be Central's campus or Clovis or Fresno or Tulare or Visalia. So just so you know, we have our specific tryout procedures, and we will discuss those a little bit later in this document. And then candidates and parents must sign a form stating that they understand and will comply with the information in this packet. And those documents will be stated at the end. If you want to go ahead and scroll down. Okay, so financial responsibilities. While most cheerleaders choose to purchase their full uniforms, the school will provide a stock size uniform consisting of non-hygienic items on loan if a participant cannot afford to purchase one. You must check this uniform out, and additional optional accessories, including but not limited to campwear, bags, shoes, and body liners and practice attire are available. So we do have fundraising also available, and a thorough description of appropriate practices and procedures are available through the Central Unified School District Campus Activity Fundraising Guidelines, and individuals directly responsible for fundraising should refer to that document in district policy for complete directions. And each cheerleader shall participate in fundraising activities as an active squad goodwill. Now, we'll never force your child to fundraise, obviously, but as you guys know, cheerleading can get very expensive, and obviously, like, we want to provide you guys with as many opportunities to make it as inexpensive as possible. And we have a very, very structured schedule of fundraisers, and we do have a document that's on our that has a calendared, and it's right now it's kind of an outline of what we have planned, but it's a limited outline, and we have a lot of fundraisers planned. So there will be more fundraisers planned. However, each fundraiser that's on there is very detailed in what the fundraiser is for, what it goes to, how much we expect to make, how much we expect, each individual to profit off of that. So our whole thing about fundraising is it should benefit the program, one, either as a whole or the individual that is fundraising. So they're there to provide a cushion for you guys, to allow you guys to do fun things as a team, to create opportunities for you guys to go and do things like go to Florida for nationals, or to, pay for things and make it a little bit less expensive. You should never allow costs to hinder your ability to do cheer. I can tell you, in all my years of cheerleading, I have never had one cheerleader who could not afford to be on my teams. We will never let a cheerleader go without. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I want to do a team, or I want to do 2 teams, but it might be expensive, so I'm only going to do one, never, ever, ever let that be the deciding factor of whether you want to be on a team or whether you want to do comp. And oh gosh, Florida, it's expensive to fly across. I can tell you right now, I have never ever had an individual who has not been able to afford to go to Florida, or not been able to afford to be on any team they wanted to do. We always make it work, and we always, work for our kids. So through fundraising, through sponsorships, we always get things donated. We work our buns off to make our kids, be on our teams and get them through the season. So we are a collective family trying to get things done. So through those fundraisers, make sure you look at that fundraising schedule and know that a lot of stuff gets added and a lot of things get done. If you want to scroll down. And so, these are the basic expenses for uniforms. So you're going to look at your base uniform collection item costs, and these are for all teams. So base uniform collection costs, you're going to look at, the red line item, and then you're going to want to make sure you add taxes and shipping. A lot of cheer parents are like, okay, like this is how much this is. And then they forget that things do need to have taxes added, and they do also need to be shipped somewhere. Now, the things in blue are available loaner items. Now, loaner items are items that are hygienic. So those are items that are non-hygienic. So those are items that do not, touch areas that are bodily fluid areas. So those are the items that can and cannot be loaned based on that principle. So things that obviously have to be purchased are your basic things like cheer shoes. Those are things that obviously we can't loan out to other people. Same thing with poms and spandex shorts, things like that. And you're going to look at that relative cost that we have there estimated. And again, these are estimated prices. And you're going to go ahead and scroll down. And you're looking at all these different program prices. Now, I'll tell you this too, one of the really cool things about our program, and I've been doing this for a really long time, and one of the cool things about our program is our program operates on a collection uniform program basis. So we work very much like a college program in that we have a collection uniform. So we have multiple pieces, and all of those pieces are interchangeable. So when you buy a uniform, it's an investment uniform, and there's multiple pieces that you purchase, and they stay with you for 4 years. You don't come on as a junior varsity cheerleader, buy a uniform, and then turn around and then have to buy a whole new uniform for your varsity year, and then have to change it because we've decided we're going to change the uniform again. We try to keep our uniforms classic. We try to keep them kind of timeless. So then you're really looking at investing in one uniform that changes into multiple uniforms with different looks. So you have a blue pleated skirt and a white pleated skirt. You have a short sleeve shell. You have a long sleeve shell. You have a straight skirt, and we can kind of change it based on what we're doing. So let's say you're going to a football football game and you're going to be doing a lot of stunting, we're going to have you wear a straight skirt. And then we're going to switch it up, for a halftime, we're going to have you switch to a pleated skirt. We have a community service event, we're going to have you wear your performance tank and the performance shorts. We kind of like to kind of switch up the look. And then if for some reason you grow out of something, all you're doing is you're just switching. Okay, my shell's a little tight this season. I'm just going to switch that out and purchase a new one, or I'm going to switch with a loaner one and then not have to worry about, I'm not going to have to worry about having to purchase a whole new set of uniform items. So really it's a one-time cost for multiple years. Now we obviously know that trends change and things like, wants and of looks kind of change. So what we do decide to do sometimes is we decide to fundraise for a whole new look sometimes. And we will get together and we'll vote as a team. Okay, we want to buy a whole new shell to fit into the collection. And then what we'll do is we'll purchase that as a team. And then we'll interchange that look. And then the incoming freshmen of that year will go ahead and purchase in for that new look. And we'll either retire a shell or a skirt that we want to change out, or we'll kind of, maybe keep it around and just kind of use other ones as loaners. So it's really cost effective in that you're not constantly changing up uniform looks and you're really just replacing a piece here and there. So it's really, really nice in that you really have multiple looks within one set of looks, one collection, and you're kind of interchanging. Now, camp wear and workout wear. One thing with our teams, and this is something that is super important to us, is uniformity. We do require our kids to, for the most part, about 85 to 90% of the time, we do have them dress out in the same stuff for practices. One, it's professional. We do have a lot of colleges ask for film for our kids. That's game day. Sometimes that's sideline. And sometimes that is, obviously our traditional teams. So we like the kids to look very, very professional and all looking the same. Not only that, but we have a lot of kids who sometimes like to show up to practices, obviously in oversized t-shirts and just really baggy stuff, and they're all mismatched and whatnot. And with the level of stunting that the kids will do fairly quickly, you'd be surprised when you're wearing really oversized shirts and you're doing inverted skills and you're doing a lot of twisting. We can't afford for kids to get caught up in these shirts and these, baggy clothing items. You really need to be wearing things that are appropriate fitting. On top of that, we need to make sure that kids are appropriate in their presentation and in their appearance. And not only that, with the way that we choreograph and the way that we try to keep the kids very uniform in their appearance and their choreography and whatnot, uniformity is huge when it comes to UCA and it comes to game day and placement and whatnot. The kids need to look the same when it comes to making sure that they're completely in line and looking very, very collective as a unit. We just need to make sure that everybody looks exactly the same, and the uniforms really help with that. And I always tell the parents, I just saved you a lot of money on school clothes because the kids essentially live in their practice wear. So not only that, we do have situations where everything is really, really grabby as far as like flipping and twisting and whatnot. I can't have kids showing up to practice with these itty bitty sports bras and itty bitty tank tops and whatnot. The practice wear that we have them wearing is very fortified. It's very, very, it's very form-fitting, and yet still, it fits appropriately to the activity that we're doing. I've had kids before where they've showed up with these like little clasps and whatnot, and it's just, it's not conducive to the activity that we're doing. And we really need them to be wearing the same thing and wearing things that work with what we're doing. So the practice wear is something that is essential to the activity that we have. The kids are gifted a lot of practice wear, which is really, really nice. Comp team gets a couple of extra items just because they're constantly in workwear. So That's really cool. Deposits are required. When you make the team, a deposit of $250, it's due to secure a position as a team that is directly your balance, and that payment can be made to your portal. We do a Varsity Portal, which is very universal, I think, across many squads, and that is due on Monday, May 10th. So surprise, just an FYI, you make the team, we get right to work. So essentially that May 10th, your deposit will be directly and immediately applied to your uniform balance. And we are essentially meeting and practicing right away in May. And you will get a red folder. And I believe that I think it's May 3rd, and we will meet. That'll be our first meeting. I think it's May 3rd or May 4th. And then deposits are non-refundable and non-returnable. You can pay via credit card. You will not pay me directly. And then we ask that you double and triple check all sizes and all quantities for accuracy, and non-payment of portal order may result in partial cancellation of your order. Everything is made to fit for your kid. So it's not like going to Target and, saying, hey, I like this top and I like these jeans and I'm going to, basically put it in my basket and walk out with it. You are essentially buying it. So, and it's made for your body and it's made for you. So you order it, you buy it, it's yours. So May 7th, it says May 7th, your deposit's due, but I believe it's May 10th. And then Monday, June 7th, your portal balance is due. And that includes your long sleeve shell, skirt, short sleeve, performance tank, everything there. And then Monday, June 14th, a second portal opens up, and that includes your extras. So your warm-ups, your camp wear, and any optional items that you ordered, like backpacks and everything. And then nothing else is due at that time. Like, you don't have a deposit for that. And then Friday, July 16th, your second portal balance is due. So uniforms and appearance. All uniforms and practice attire is approved by principal and advisor. Everything's been checked out. And that's another reason why we want you guys to be uniform in your practice wear. It's very easy to call out kids, like so-and-so's walking around in their sports bra and their booty, is hanging out in their little shorts. And now nobody can say, oh, the cheerleaders are dressed inappropriately, because guess what? Everything you're wearing has been approved and it's been sanctioned by the school. So that's another reason why we like for everything to be pre-approved and everybody to look the same. And it's also really easy to keep the little ducklings in line. So like if we're at nationals and we're, halfway across the country, it's very, very easy to find all of you guys if you're all looking the same all the time, which is really, really cool. And then absolutely no undergarments show me. And if a member is not in proper uniform, including but not limited to secure hairstyle, bow, sweatshirt, or cool, I think it says cool weather attire, you will be contacted by a family member to bring the necessary uniform. So if it's, freezing at a game and you didn't bring your jacket, we will not make the entire team cheer in a short sleeve shell. So you need to make sure that you bring everything that we've asked you to bring. Keep uniforms clean, pressed, and mended at all time. And then make sure that your makeup is natural and your hair is secured how we've asked you to secure it. And then nails are short and groomed, no visible jewelry, and no gum chewing or candy. Okay. And then never loan your uniform out to a non-squad member. I cannot stress this enough. And the reason why I say this is because it is so easy for somebody to be like, sure, I'll lend my hoodie or I'll lend my jacket to somebody. And then somebody goes and does something wrong in a Justin Garza hoodie or a Justin Garza sweatshirt. And then guess what? You get in trouble for it. And then it's a Justin Garza cheerleader is out doing something really naughty and something that you own, and then you get in trouble for it. And we just don't want that to happen. So it's just very important that you take very good care of your stuff and you treat it like it's you in it. So it is case for getting a demerit. We don't, especially some of your stuff is going to have your name on it. So I mean, if Julie has her name on her jacket and Crystal is wearing Julie's sweater, guess what? I'm going to hear that Julie is out doing something really bad, even though Julie's not the one who's doing something bad, but she's wearing Julie's jacket. So you just need to make sure that you are taking care of your stuff and you're not loaning it out. And you need to make sure that you're keeping it just for yourself. And what I would recommend, and I always tell all of my cheerleaders, go buy one of those really big Target bins, decorate it, make it really, really cute, and then put all of your cheer stuff in it. It is really, really hard to replace cheer items, especially because it's custom made for you. All of our items are custom made specific for us. It's got our custom logo on it. And I would suggest that you just have a bin, put it all in there. After you launder it, put it right back into your bin and don't put it anywhere else. And then all of your stuff is in one centralized location so that you don't lose it, because you lose it, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to get it back. Okay, so we already went through our squad descriptions, but one important thing you guys want to keep in mind for competition squads is that nationals is a big deal, and there are some additional things you need to know, and especially some of the little additional expenses. So there is a flight deposit that will be due in October. We do get on a plane and we fly out to Florida. So that is in October when that would be due, $150. And then there is a nationals registration deposit that is due in November, December, and that's $150. And then USA nationals, which is $50 to $100. Now, every year we kind of go through this back and forth with my teams, where once they have gone to Florida, some of them have made the decision that some of them just want to go to Florida and decide not to go to the USA Nationals. So it just kind of depends on what, everybody like kind of votes on. It's totally up to everybody. Sometimes they're like the week after, and then it's also based on, district approval. So I would just suggest, again, like keep that in mind, like deposits are due. I will tell you right now, like based on fundraising, usually we get a lot of sponsorships and whatnot. Like I have had teams where like they literally have gone to Florida for like no more than $300, which is amazing. And, it's all based on if you stick to your fundraising and you do what you are supposed to, and you stick to like we set goals for fundraising, like, hey, for this fundraiser, make $150 and you're on pace to go to Florida with just your deposits. If you do that, you will get to nationals on just your deposits, which is awesome. And then all you have to pay for is churros and Mickey ears. So, just focus on, if we give you a goal, meet that goal, and all you'll have to pay for is your deposits. And I have yet to have any kids, like I said, that have not like made it to Florida on what we've asked of them. And it's been a great experience. So, but I do want you guys to be cognizant of those deposits. And then if you are competing, it is my personal, I know you guys are probably saying, what about choreographer fees, or what about, competition fees for other competitions? If I'm going to send you to like 12 or 13 competitions a year, and I'm also going to have a big expensive choreographer that's flying all the way from Kentucky, it is my personal and my professional opinion that I have to pay for it. That's me. That not every other coach feels that way. I don't feel that it is your responsibility to pay for that. But that's me. So that is not an expense I feel my program should pay for. That is not an expense my parents should pay for. That is what I feel I should pay for. So that is not an expense you incur. However, the only thing that you do incur is if you go to those competitions and it's an overnight. I think we only have 2 that are overnight trips. You have to pay for, obviously, like your hotel room, which I believe we usually split it up 4 individuals per room. And usually that ranges $37 to $42 per kid, unless you want to stay with your own family. So that's usually how much that costs. So just keep that in mind. So those are the only other expenses I can think of, with the exception of cheer camp. And then for cheer camp, there's a deposit if you want to roll down. And that deposit is $50, and that's for all teams due May 17th, with the exception of Blue Crew. And then the one thing you do want to think about, like immediately, everybody, is a real California ID. And that is something everybody needs. And I know everybody's like, oh, but I have a minor. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you, Oak Ridge from Sacramento, in Florida, they already required real California ID. And it's the craziest story in that, like, they tried to come back and one girl decided that she wasn't going to get a real California ID. They came back and they got stuck in Florida. So it was a nightmare for Oak Ridge. And we were like, oh my God, like, really, are they stuck in the airport? And yes, they were, because one kid did not listen to the coach and literally didn't get their real California ID. So please, everybody, listen and just get your real California ID. If you make traditional comp and you make game day comp, please get your real California ID. Pep too, because who knows, you guys may be amazing and we may take you to Florida. So please just get your real California ID and get it done. So captains, I think, go ahead and read that if you're interested in being a captain. We take our captain positions extremely seriously. It's super, super important to us. It's the leadership of our team, and really read that thoroughly. And let me see. Okay, and then extracurricular standards of behavior. So student participation in extracurricular activities is encouraged. We want you guys to be well-rounded individuals, but we also want you to be super balanced individuals. So by that, we mean that, while it's so important that you guys are involved in as much as possible, we know COVID was a crazy year and you guys spent a lot of time cooped up. And we want you guys to be involved in all these sports and activities and clubs and everything. We also want you guys to keep in mind that we don't want you guys to be super overextended going into this new year. So just make sure that if you are getting involved in cheerleading and everything, and you're getting involved in all these other activities, make sure we're being communicative about all those things that we're getting involved in, and make sure that we're really, really talking to each other about all of these extracurricular activities and all of our obligations. So if you are doing something extra this year, or a couple of extra things, make sure that we're really, really talking to each other about that. And we're really committing to those new things that we're getting involved in. So cheer included. So let me see. Code of conduct, I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Okay, so going into the demerit system. So the demerit system is extremely important to us. And I know some people look at this and like 6 demerits. I only have 6 chances. Yes, you have 6 chances. And the reason why we say 6 chances is because we are really trying to prepare you for the real world. Okay. So if you were to go and get a job someday, and I know some programs have 20, demerits, or have, 25, 25 strikes, or whatever, they call them. In the real world, an employer is not going to give you 20 chances to make mistakes and then allow you to still keep your job. And we're here to prepare you for the real world and really try to set you up for success. So we kind of look at the demerit system as kind of like the warning signals in the car. I know the majority of you probably aren't driving, but parents, I think you can kind of feel me on this one. If you get in your car and you see a bunch of little red, exclamation points in your car, and the gas lights on, and it's all warning signs. So that's what the demerit system really is. It's a warning system. It's kind of like, hey, something's wrong. We need to fix this, or we need to, make some adjustments. That's what the demerit system really is. So the first one is really just a freebie. It's just kind of saying, hey, heads up, you've been late. So just, make sure that, you kind of, next time you need to show up, and you need to be on time, or, you forgot your bow, make sure, bring your bow, your palms, or, your bra straps are showing. Make sure you weren't wearing your red lipstick when you were supposed to. Your hair's not done the way it's supposed to fix it. The second time, or the first time is another warning. The second time is a warning. Third time is a warning, and then a meeting with the parent. So if you're messing up now, like 4 times, we're kind of looking at a little bit more of a habit. So if you were in a professional job and let's say you were late to work by your 4th time, your boss is probably going to have a meeting with you at this point. So that's kind of how we're looking at it, right? And then the fourth, more like the fifth is what it really is, because you got that freebie, right? We're probably going to meet with your parent, and we're probably going to take 2 points off of your next year's tryout score. And we are very, very strict to our demerit system. And I can tell you, and this is me being completely honest with you, our kids that have been through the program know that if they're a minute late, they're actually like, they will get a demerit. It's not like, I'm just a minute late. No, you'll get a demerit. And it's not like, well, I just, I was here, I was on campus. It's walking through the door, and it's just to be respectful for everybody's time. I know I would drive to Tulare every single day, and I was on time every single day. Like, plan your day out, prepare your stuff, make sure you have the right outfit ready. We want you to learn to, have everything ready to go and be ready to set your day up for success. We're trying to provide you with the tools to be ready for your day, be ready to do the things that you need to do as an adult to be prepared. So 5, you're meeting with a parent admin, and probably 2 weeks of probation and 5 points off your next year's tryout score. And then by 6, removal from squad, which is actually 7. So again, tardies and absences are a big deal. And I'm sure you guys have all read through this. And then the whole, I, have an emergency, and then you're walking in with your Starbucks, or, I was a little bit late, but, I've been around the block a few times. I've been doing this for a while. We kind of know the difference of, when somebody's kind of running behind and, they aren't necessarily being the most honest with us. So just understand that we would much rather prefer you guys to be honest with us and tell us what's going on. Not to say that life doesn't happen, but we really need everybody to be accountable and to make sure that they are committed to the team and doing the things that they need to do to keep us successful. Also, with time off and asking for days off, we give you a schedule in advance. We ask that you work around the allotted schedule. I know people have vacations, people have lives outside of cheer, but we are a very committed team as far as competition is concerned and whatnot. And you'll see that, the team is going to be extremely, extremely successful, as far as getting things done and making sure that, we look good and whatnot. However, one of the biggest things that we need to make sure that we keep in mind is that, everybody is in it to, I guess you say, win it, in it to be the best that they can be. And that requires everybody working together. And if an individual is, not respecting everybody's time or respecting everybody's work ethic by kind of flippantly, taking multiple days off, or just kind of not really taking the time to be courteous of others, we're going to have an issue. So again, life happens. If you have a vacation that you need, or you need some time off, just make sure you let us know. We'll do our best to work, schedules around it. We just need some notice. That's the biggest thing. Notice is huge. So inclement weather, I think that's kind of self-explanatory. There are a lot of things that will get you demerits. You'll see them. Again, think outside of the box. There's a lot of ways to avoid demerits. Just make sure your clothing is folded up, before you have practice. Make sure that it's, make sure you have it to the side. We will always text you what the outfit is for practice the day before. We will let you know far in advance when you have practice. You'll have a group meet, and we will post, reminders the week before. Like Friday night, you'll always have, this is your practice schedule again, reminder, this is what you're wearing for the week. And then your captains will send out, this is the outfit. And usually we'll pick the outfits with the captains, and they'll post it, this is the outfit. And then we will also, think about it. If you're at a game, you forgot your bow, and another team just got done with their game, you have 30 other kids on the team that have the exact same bow. Obviously, I would say, hey, Julie, can I borrow your bow? Yeah, I mean, it's just get common sense rather than calling mom. I mean, parents, you have a lot going on. You don't need your kid calling to bring you a bow all the way from home. It's probably best, kids, if you think about, hey, I could probably just ask somebody to borrow a bow rather than, have to, ask my parents to drive all the way to bring me my bow. Or just consider, really keeping an extra in your bag, having a little extras bag or keeping extra things in your pouches. So civility, parents and partners with the school are expected to support the cheerleading program. One thing that I would say is if you're a parent in our program, if you're a kid in our program, communication is key. I promise you at some point in the season or at some point in working with me for 4 years, like everything is not rainbows and butterflies. I know we're going to grow to really, really appreciate each other and enjoy our time together, but there's going to be a time where you're probably going to disagree with me or not enjoy something. Or, just have criticism and I don't know what I don't know. So if you're unhappy with something or something, is bothering you, feel free to come to me and have a discussion with me. And I will most definitely try to hear it out and, take that into consideration. I love feedback and I most definitely am always willing to listen. And one thing that I would always, stress to everybody is the best person to solve an issue is the person you have an issue with. So I will say that, like, if there is a grievance, please come to me and I will do my best to resolve it. Again, in 4 years, I promise you there's probably going to be something that I'm going to do that is going to irritate you. So please come to me. And then if for some reason we can't come to an amicable solution, then by all means, let's, have a situation where we can get it mediated. But for the most part, I mean, I've been very, very fortunate to have amazing parents and amazing kids that I work fantastically with. And I think that a lot of that has to do with great communication. So the more that you communicate with me, the better. I try to answer my cell phone very, very quickly and my emails very, very quickly. So please, you're never bothering me. Please email me, please text me, and I will always do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. If I'm ever not available, I will send out a text or an email saying I am not available. Okay, so injuries and hurt and illnesses. I think it goes without saying, concussions and injuries. I will tell you, I've seen it all. One thing I am known for is my safety compliance. I am known for my technique. I'm known for my progressions. And one thing that I will say is your kids and their health is of the utmost importance to me. So trust that is at the forefront of my mind. I have laid awake at night when a kid has, had a cold. So I worry about them just as much as a parent would. So understand that they are the number one thing that is on my mind when it comes to them not feeling well or them. I mean, they most definitely, anytime they're not feeling well or just having a bad day, it bothers me. So understand that if they're injured or they're sick, it is the forefront of my concern. So one thing that I would just take into consideration, one thing for you to tell me is just, again, communication. Make sure that your child knows their body, they know their tolerance, make sure they know the difference between, hurt and injury. I do expect that if a kid has like a sprain or strain, they do come to practice if they are still, able to be mobile. I think that's an expectation for any coaching situation. But if they, aren't, we would obviously consider having a doctor's note, and then they would be required to stay home. Okay, let's move on. And documentation, we do keep records in their files that I discussed about non-cheer-related and cheer-related illnesses, and that's just for obvious reasons. And then here are all the things that you need to sign, and just make sure that all of that is signed and turned into the on registration day or via email. So I know that was a lot, but we try to be thorough. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the tryouts section, and this is the last bit that we have. All right, so tryouts. So all the tryout material
Sorry,
can
Coach
be
Audino,
found.
we do have some questions. So
Oh,
once you're done here, let's go ahead and answer those once you're done here.
All right.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead and finish this part.
Okay, so we have the tryout material. It can all be found on these links here on the website. So all of those links will take you to all of the tryout material. We have a back view, a front view. We have the dance with counts. The dance music, we tried to make it just a iTunes downloadable song. We try to keep it very, very easy for everybody because obviously the material couldn't be learned in person. And then we have a defense and offense cheer, and then we have a general cheer to learn. And then we also have a jump, which is a toe touch. And then you're more than welcome. If you don't have a dance skill or a tumbling skill, you can just do another jump of your choice. So the tryout material scoring. So maximum points available. Candidates will be judged on enthusiasm, facial expression, technique, coordination, crowd engagement, authenticity, professionalism, motion placement, effort, and energy. All score portions are weighted equally. So everything is 1 out of 10. And that's because I personally weigh everything in cheer equally. And so you'll receive a base score, and that category is taken into account above criteria and then awarded and deducted additional points for a grand total. So teams will be comprised of a balanced natural break of scores. So you'll learn that dance, which is 10 points, the toe touch, which is 10 points. You'll answer an interview question, and then you'll do a short sideline cheer and chant. So those cheer and chants are defense, offense, and then a general. You'll only have to do one of those and we'll call it out, and you'll have to know which one we called out. So you'll have to know the difference between defense, offense, and general. So we'll say like, defense, and then you'll have to know that it's obviously hold that line, or we'll say offense, you have to know that it's move that ball. And then we'll say, a general, you have to know that it's yell with me, we love JG. And then we'll tell you how many times you repeat it or stop it. And then you'll have to demonstrate a special skill. So that special skill can be anything you want. It'll have to be like a turn or leap if you're trying out for Pep or Pom, a tumbling skill of your choice, running or standing. If you can't tumble, you can demonstrate a herky, a hurdler, or a pike jump. If you're tumbling, we recommend you show your highest consistent level of tumbling. So don't do anything that's not safe. And then additional bonus points available. They're all labeled right there. Just want to scroll down. And then there are deductions available if you see those. And then we'll go what to wear to tryouts. If you want to go to the pictures. Oh, okay, we'll go to the tryout week. So just to give you a heads up, tryout week is 4/26 through 4/30, which is April. And the location is Glacier Point. Right now we're planning on outdoors unless something changes to where we can go indoors. I actually got word today that there's a possibility that we can go indoors if we go to the next tier. So that's a possibility, but I can't say for certain if that is a possibility. So but this is the, I guess, schedule. So registration day, all required documents that are not turned in via online or email beforehand are turned in person. And final adjustments are made to your files. So basically like your application from 3:30 to 5 p.m., you'll go to Glacier Point, there will be a table, and you'll be able to turn in anything that you couldn't turn in online, and you can also adjust anything that you turned in. So you'll also be able to tell me, you can tell me via email, hey, this is my priority team I want to make, like I really, really want to make traditional, or I didn't put that I wanted to make Pom, but I want to now make Pom too. Or I put that, I didn't have a tuck and now I've been taking classes and I got a tuck, vice versa. Tuesday, the 27th, is an in-person material instruction cohort clinic. So you can sign up for A, B, or C cohort, and basically we'll have somebody there that can help you with the dance, can help you with the cheer, can help you with jumps, can help you with, we can't help you with tumbling because we can't touch you, but any of those things we can help you with. And essentially, we have to keep a limit on certain amount of people per those cohorts, and it is socially distant. So we have to have a certain amount of people, and we will do temp checks as you come in. We will keep you 6 feet apart, and then we will check you in with a questionnaire as well. So we'll go ahead and give you kind of a rundown of what will happen via email, and then also via that text message. Well, I guess you could say group me kind of message that we'll put you in as we get a little bit closer. And then just so you know too, on Monday the 26th, those tryout appointments will be made, and we will go ahead and send you via email and then via text message what your tryout appointment will be. And then Thursday the 29th and Friday the 30th will be actual tryouts. So what will happen again, there will be a table. You will have a tryout appointment in groups of 3. So we will say, hey, we're confirming your appointment. Let's say your appointment is 3:30 to 3:50. Sam, Crystal, and Jenny, your appointments are, this time to this time. Make sure that you show up 5 minutes early. You'll come in, we'll put you 6 feet apart. We'll take your temperature. We'll ask you a few questions. You'll be escorted to the tryout area, and then you will be judged. And then parents, we suggest that you stick around and just pick them right up right after they're done. And then by midnight, via social media and by email, we'll notify you if you made the team. Now, if you didn't make the team, just a heads up, we feel we owe you an explanation as to why you didn't make the team. We're not the type of coaches that would be like, hey, thanks for trying out. Sorry you didn't make it. We will tell you and we'll give you feedback as to why you did not make the team. And we will actually let you see your score. And we'll tell you, hey, this is what you scored here. This is what you scored there. And we'll give you your score sheet. We'll scan it to you and send it to you. We feel we owe you that transparency. Now, scores for anybody who did make it, we will not give you your score sheet. Just a heads up. And what to wear to try out. So if you look here, now your hair doesn't have to be exactly like this. It doesn't have to look exactly, and you don't have to wear these exact outfits. This is just kind of a generalization of kind of the look that you should have. So hair in a low parted pony out of your face, just make sure, it's just kind of nice and clean out and back, and a plain white bow or ribbon, gray, black, blue, red shorts. Crop yogas are fine. Plain white tank or tee. We just really don't want riding across it or anything. And a little Nike check is fine, or Adidas, or like a little swoosh or whatever is fine. Little something there is okay. Appropriate athletic undergarments, please make sure you're wearing a sports bra, or if you have shorts, spandex under. Clean white athletic shoes, no Vans or slide-ons. If it has a little bit of pink or green, that's fine. We just don't want anybody showing up in big clunky shoes that you don't work out in. Red lipstick, you'll notice that'll be a big staple throughout the program. It really emphasizes smiles. And then a cloth mask. There will be a portion where if you feel comfortable, you will be able to remove your mask. We do follow CDC and state guidelines, and there is a portion where you will be able to take off your mask during the tryout. And then make sure you're just staying up to date on all information. So make sure you're checking your email, reading the handbook thoroughly, check the website often. It's updated all the time. Pay close attention to deadlines, check social media, follow us, on Justin Garza Cheer. When in doubt, ask questions. You're never, ever bothering me, and confirm receipt of all documents. So just because you sent it to me doesn't mean I got it. So please just make sure that I got what you sent me. I would hate for you to send me something thinking I got it, and then come tryout day, you're like, well, I thought I sent you everything, and then I didn't end up getting it. That would bum me out. All right. So I think I'm ready for any questions. There may be.
You've got lots of questions, Coach.
Oh, great. Yay.
Awesome. Before we get into that, do you want to talk about your fundraiser tomorrow?
Yes. So, and we have a fundraiser, we're super excited because we have our first little fundraiser going on, and that is at Panda Express, and we're super pumped about that. And I will be there tomorrow. So if you want to come and like talk to me and meet me, I will be there. Where is the Panda Express located? Do you have the actual location?
It's actually right by Rio Vista off of Herndon near
Okay.
99.
Perfect. So we will be there, and we'll be there at noon tomorrow. So come eat yummy food, support your program. And we're really excited to kind of just get to meet you guys. And I would love to see your faces. And yeah, like we'll be there. And again, Panda is always super yum. So
Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead. We've got several questions, so we'll go ahead and get started with the first one.
Okay.
How are you going to make your appointments? My daughter has a doctor's appointment the week of tryouts.
Okay, so if you have a conflict, that's totally fine. Just let us know. So if you, let's say I make an appointment for 3:30 to 3:50 and it doesn't work for you, you can tell me that. So I'm going to group people in three. Usually what I do is I look at we have a nice stack of applicants here. What I'll do is I'll go through basically the first individuals that signed up. I'll put them in a group of three, totally randomized. I'll say, okay, this group is from blah, blah, blah to blah, 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 blah time. And then I will email those individuals and text those individuals individually. And then if you can't make it, I will bump somebody else into that slot. And then I'll move you into the next slot. I'll be like, does this time work for you? And if that time works for you, just respond, yes, that's fine. And then I'll put you into that time slot.
Perfect. Okay, next question. If we can't make something into a PDF, can I turn it in the day of tryouts?
Not the day of tryouts, but you can turn it into on registration day. If you're turning it in the day of tryouts, it's late and you'll get docked for it point wise.
Thank you. Will there be a video with the music added to practice, or is it separate?
Yes. So on one of those links, the dance has the music with it.
Perfect. And how are we going to find out we made the team? I think you already covered that.
Yep.
Let's see here. Is there any help with uniform measurements?
Okay. So you're going to be really shocked at this, but I'm really, really, really good at fittings too. Like really good at fittings. I actually virtually fitted each and every one of my team members last year, and I got one kid wrong. And that was the bane of my existence because I was like, no, I got one wrong. So I've been doing this for 18 years. And for some reason, I've gotten really good at this. I'm around cheerleaders all the time. And I'm around kids all the time. And I've been around uniforms for a very long time. And between all-stars and between high school, it's just I'm constantly doing this. So you guys are really gonna have to trust me on this because I've done this so much. My garage looks like a cheer warehouse. I have uniforms, I have bins of uniforms, I have bins of skirts, bins of shells, bins of just stuff. So basically what I do is I have some stock uniforms, but I have pleated skirts already in my garage. And what I'll do is I'll probably have you go off of one of the sizes, and then I'll either go up or down off of that size. And then I'll take a stock shell that I have and I'll have you go up or down off of that shell. I'm just really used to doing this. So trust me, I'll get you. Yeah.
Does the PEP team go to Florida too?
So based on your talent, yes and no. So one thing that I know, like as far as for this particular year, I know that I can take our traditional and I can take our game day team to Florida, no questions asked. Our PEP team, I don't know what our talent is coming in for PEP. So I don't know if we have kids with, I know that we can get kids to stunt at a high level very quickly. And I know I can get kids to tumble at a high level very quickly and get them to Florida and compete in a division. And I know I can take a game day team, which doesn't require a high level of tumbling or a high level of stunting, and compete in Florida. Now, dance, we would have to get them to do turns and leaps and whatnot and take them to Florida for UDA. So it would depend on the skill level of the kids and where we get them in the season. I would have to adjust based on how they are. I know that for sure we'd take them to USA, but it would just depend on the talent level at some point and how fast we can build them.
Awesome.
I'm not the pep coach. I'm the cheer coach. So it would just depend on that, if that makes sense.
Perfect. When will the calendar be posted? We're planning a family vacation for June right now when school lets out and are purchasing flights this week.
Oh, that's fantastic. The best thing to do, if you are planning a vacation right now, send me, even though you're not on the team, I'm not even kidding, send me right now what your vacation is. Shoot me an email after the Zoom and say, this is our vacation. I will literally look at what our schedule is and I'll tell you, hey, this is what we're planning. And then you'll know, because I have our schedule for summer already. You're pretty much practicing it, depending on what team you make, you're pretty much practicing 4 days a week. If you're sideline and competition, if you're pep, I think you're practicing like 3 days a week over the summer. You have a set vacation for the summer, but if you have, I'll tell you this, like if you have like a prepaid family vacation that's like a week, I mean, you'll be excused, but obviously we can't have people missing a ton of, we can't have everybody missing over the summer because we'll never get anything done. So if you have something, send it to me now, let me look at it, and then I'll send you what we have and we can work something out. If that makes sense.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Where are the dance videos, or are they not posted yet?
We just showed that on the website.
Right. Perfect. Yeah. Do we have to memorize both cheers, the general and the offense ones?
Yes, but you will not perform all of them. And they're very, very easy.
Will one tryout be good for all squads, or a different tryout for each squad you are wanting to try out for?
Yeah, they'll all be good for all of them.
Perfect. Is a requirement to wear red lipstick, or can I wear lip gloss?
Red. You'll learn to love it. I promise. I swear. I know everybody's like, red lip, really? I'm not a red lipstick. You'll be a red lipstick person.
When, I think you already answered this one. If you want to reiterate, when is the registration day?
Yeah, I already said that. The 26th.
Yeah. We got that one already. Does game day comp travel?
Yes. And they go to Florida.
Okay. Are you going to release the interview questions before tryouts?
Maybe.
Okay.
I like to be sneaky like that. Like maybe I will, maybe I won't.
Let's see here. What are the funds from the fundraisers going to cover?
It all depends. So if you look at the fundraising schedule, some is for individual costs. Some is for Florida. A lot of parents are like, let's pay off Florida. That's a big thing. Like they want to go to Florida on the cheap. So they're like, can we like really get Florida paid for? That's a big thing. And then a lot of parents, like we do a big banquet at the end of the year. It's called, this year we're calling it the Guardian Gala. So that like a big awards banquet and everything. We do senior gifts. Obviously we don't have seniors, but like, we do stuff like that. We do a lot of team events, which you guys are going to really love. We do a lot of team parties. We will also have like obvious transportation camp, so things like that, that's what that like covers. And like right now, obviously like this year won't be a thing, but like next year, like my plan is, and I've talked to administration about this, like I would love to take us to Kentucky Masters for camp someday. It's something that like I've always wanted to do. I think it'd be great to like take the kids to go and do that. And that's the kind of stuff that fundraising goes to. So, we're really looking at like trying to fortify the account to do those kind of fun things. But yeah, like, all that kind of fun stuff.
Awesome. And we have another question, and I know you had mentioned this already, but if you could just go ahead and mention it again. What will the COVID procedures be during tryouts?
Yeah. So, okay. So basically what will happen is you will walk in and you'll get an email about this, and you'll get like a little PDF thing that will go to that little group me message. Essentially, you'll walk in, everybody will have to be masked. You'll have a table that you'll check into. Kids will be 6 feet apart. You'll see like 3 cones. You'll have somebody at the table that will check you in. They'll ask for your appointment time. They'll give you a temperature check, and then they'll ask you a few questions on a questionnaire. Somebody will come up and they will escort you back, still 6 feet apart, onto the mats and onto the tryout area outdoors. And then, well, outdoors for now, seeing what the guidelines are. And then they will space you out. And then what will happen is they'll probably say, are you comfortable removing your mask at this time? And if for some reason you are not, and I've had, because I just got done doing a whole other virtual tryout just recently, and we did have, you know, various situations, people that had certain levels of comfort, didn't have certain levels of comfort. And if you don't feel comfortable removing your mask, you can say, I don't feel comfortable removing my mask, and that's totally fine. And you can say, you know, that right off the bat. You can tell me that even before you even go to your tryout and send an email. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and note that in your notes if you don't want to say that at your tryout. And essentially what will happen is we'll say, if you feel comfortable removing your mask, remove it. And then we will go ahead and do the interview question. I believe we will do the tryout dance, because it is a point in the tryout where you're really overexerting yourself. We can allow the mask to be out or off. And then we will do the jump, and then the cheer, and then the special skill, we are requiring you to keep your mask on. So I think that's pretty much it. And I think for the jump, we're keeping you with your mask on too. So I have it written down here. There's so much information right now. Yeah.
Thank you. A follow-up to that was, what is the jump?
Okay, so the jump is a toe touch, and we did a sample of that on online, and we'll go ahead and put that in the tryout samples. We'll put a sample of that up tomorrow. We'll put a sample of that tomorrow evening, so you'll know. But if you look up toe touch on YouTube, you'll know what we're talking about.
All right. And next question. Do you have parents switch off on game day snacks?
Yes. Okay. So one of the cool things that we do, we have what's called our turnip bin. And we have parents who, and with COVID, it got a little convoluted this year because we weren't allowed to have anybody bring anything, any outside goods. But basically what we do is we have parents we have one parent that brings an ice chest, and then somebody donates waters or Gatorades. And then sometimes they'll bring, you know, we've had parents bring pizzas. We've had parents bring sandwiches. We've done full on tailgates before, which I love because some parents bring some really good food. But we do like full on like things before the game. Sometimes we have parents, you know, bring like, you know, goodies like, you know, nature bars and whatnot. But we also have what's called like a turnip bin. So it's a big bin, and it's got all sorts of extras in it. It's got things for, you know, the kids, like hairspray. It's got you know, feminine products. It has, you know, extra bobby pins, extra bows. Another way we can avoid those, you know, demerits we talked about, has an extra pair of palms. It has extra things, and parents actually donate to that bin. And it also has snacks. So it has like fruit roll-ups, it has fruit snacks, it has an extra like Gatorade, it has a first aid kit, it has all sorts of things. And parents have like said, I just want to donate a little item for that. And it's a big bin that we take to every single game, and we actually kind of take it to everything. And essentially, if kids need anything, if the kid's hungry, the kid like, you know, went without after school, they just kind of like say, hey, Audino, can I get into the turnip bin? Or the kids are like, hey, like, we're really hungry. Like, we're struggling. They just get into that bin. Or, you know, a kid's missing something, rather than, you know, be scrounging, like they can just go right into that bin and grab. So it's kind of a nice little convenience. It's a nice little convenience. It's a big bin. And parents always are looking for really fun things to put into the bin. And sometimes we even have parents put really nice little notes for the girls and surprise them with little goodies into the bin. So it's kind of cool. It's become kind of a little bit of a tradition. And I really want to carry that over into Justin Garza, because I feel like the kids are like, what's in the bin today? What's in the bin before, what do the parents put? I'm like, the parents don't like you today. They didn't put anything in there. And they're like, what? And I'm like, no, I got you something really cool. Like today they put in the really cool fruit roll-ups, So that's something that we do too. And I don't know, it's kind of fun because I feel like the kids start to really look forward to it, and they feel like, are we taking the bin on the on the way bus, and, it's just kind of a nice little extra, So yeah, we do snacks. And, that's also something that we use for fundraisers too. Sometimes we'll kind of like get little extras to do before the games. Like I said, tailgates are kind of nice to have too.
Awesome. And we've got a couple more.
Yeah.
Will you email both the cheerleader and the parent the tryout information?
I will email the email that I got when you sent me your application. If I don't have the email, I can't email it. So if you applied with an email, that's the email that I'm corresponding to.
Thank you. And then last one, will we be performing both cheers for the tryouts or just the dance?
You'll be performing the dance, a cheer, so one of the 3 cheers, a jump, a special skill, and an interview question.
Awesome. And I think Mr. Gutierrez is going to go ahead and close our meeting today.
Yes, thank you everybody for being with us. This was a great informational meeting, and I'm super excited to launch our cheer program at Justin Garza. We are in great hands with Coach Audino, and I can't wait for our students to try out and find their place and their home at Justin Garza. I want to thank Coach Audino, thank Ms. Schoolfield, and also Mr. Teresian for joining us today. And we wish you all a very nice evening. And just before we go, just to confirm, would you like Coach Audino, the parents, to type in the chat their name for attendance confirmation?
Yes, please. So make sure that you type in your name and you get credit.
If you can use the chat box, we'll now open the chat box. And if you use the chat box to type in your name, we'll leave the webinar on until we have everybody kind of checked off on that chat box check-in. And once you check in, you can go ahead and log off once you get your attendance, and have a great evening. And we'll see you tomorrow at Panda Express to join us for our fundraiser. We'll practice social distance and wearing our masks, and everybody stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.